Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, and I'm laughing. I'm freaking laughing again, although it's freaking pathetic. Honestly, let's talk. So, this is my post-market wrap-up on this Tuesday, February 15th, 2022, people. Despite the fact that today, it doesn't stop. We got economic news that I really think was shocking to most, not to you, because you expected it. But these numbers on inflation were way worse than the experts out there expected them to be. And what was the outcome? A stock market rally across the board. The NASDAQ alone put on over 2.5%. Me, I've been telling my lions, nibble at those Qs, and it's certainly paying off for you. How about the banks? Them too. And you haven't seen anything yet. This market is poised beyond any shadow of any doubt to go much higher. Once this arms deal, because that's really all this is finished, okay, with regard to Russia, Ukraine, United States, other nations here in Europe especially, once that's done and everyone goes home, this market's going crazy. Just be ready for it. Let's look at the setup. The 10-year yield is above 2%, 2.05 last time I looked at it. Now, all of you who follow this blog have heard me say that the 10-year yield will settle above 2%, and I told you the market's going to love it. Yeah, the market is going to love it, especially when we get certain things out of the way. All right, what am I talking about? So on the back of, again, a rally in the stock market, despite bad economic news, despite everything thrown at this market, they could shut down the global economy. And they did. What happened to the stock market? Record high, record high, record high, record high. Do you find that interesting or disturbing? A little disturbing, especially when this guy said right here, get long COVID. Remember I said that? I didn't mean to capitalize on anyone's death or illness. I just said get long the market. That's really what I meant. I think 99% of you understood that. But of course, I have those. Oh, look at Greg Mannarino. He's looking to capitalize on people getting sick. Meanwhile, everybody, most people thought this market was going to crater. No, it was going to crater. Nothing can get in the way of this market. You know why? Because the easy money, no matter what you're hearing, no matter what dog shit they are feeding you, fist feeding you, double fist feeding you, it's not going to stop. The easy money it must continue. You know what? Hold that thought. I'll cover that a little more. But let's go back to the market. So on top of the rally, off of the bad economic news and the possible, pulling back of troops, the arms deal that's been going on, like I told you from day one, this is all just an arms deal in disguise. We have cryptocurrencies doing well. Bitcoin back over 44,000. Gold and silver unfortunately got hit today. You got the Dixie or the relative strength of the dollar lower. Despite that, guess what happened? Metals got hit. Imagine Greg Mannarino's shock there. And you got WTI, crude, still around 92. With regard to crude oil, people, look, you know this as well as I do. It's sickening to me. It's sickening to me because, you see, crude oil has no business being here at all. It is so massively overvalued. And if you think you've seen the top, well, you're wrong. Once crude oil pulls back, and I've been saying this for, I don't know, at least a month, maybe 2 months, that we need a pullback here, you should be very afraid. Very afraid, because that's how it works. You get this big move higher, you get a drop to a new floor, and boom, boom. It's going much, much higher. And think about the over 6,000 products. What it means for the over 6,000 products that are made with crude oil. What does it mean for you? You think this inflation issue is just going to go away? How many people have been talking about peak inflation? You and me? We've been laughing. Because we are so far from peak inflation that it's just out of freaking control. And the Fed, they want you to believe, they're trying to convince the world that by raising rates, give me a minute to laugh. They want you to believe that by raising rates, we're going to tame inflation. You see, they can't tell you that is just one fragment of the puzzle. If they really wanted to fix inflation, Well, first of all, they would create a massive crisis. A liquidity crisis on a biblical level. What am I talking about? All right, let's put this into perspective real quick. Bear with me on this one. What do you think is more likely? Okay. The Federal Reserve is going to allow the debt-based economic model to implode on itself right now. Right now. Eventually this is going to happen, but I'm talking about right now. Okay. Implode on itself, and the stock market to like fall by 80%, or are they more likely to print and inflate their freaking balance sheets? What do you think? I think it's a no freaking brainer here. The Federal Reserve is engaged in a process to bring about a specific end. That end is very, very simple. You know what it is. They want to be the lender and buyer of last resort. They want to own it all. They are literally in the process of an extermination. A literal extermination of an entire class of people around the world. This is central banks. When people either are gone or made to be dependent upon the state, they become very easy to manipulate. So what we're seeing here, and manipulate and control. So what we're seeing here is, again, the greatest transfer of wealth the world has ever seen. And I don't mean great in a good way. I mean the largest. Straight up to the 1% and 2%ers. Again, what a joke it was, especially during the election, when people were being sold the lie, and they bought it, that we were moving towards some kind of a socialistic style of society. It's laughable. Laughable. It never happens. Wealth always goes this way, especially here with this current environment here. What is the central bank, what is the Federal Reserve doing? They are making sure that the well-off and the rich become super well-off and super rich. They're sucking dry whatever is left of the middle class, forcing them to fall to that lower rung of society that I warned would happen from a very, very long time ago. An entirely new demographic is being created. I want you to think about this. Let's say you have an aggregate amount of capital floating around, okay, and it's been distributed to the people at the lower rung, the middle class, and the 1% and 2%ers. So what's happening here is this big blob of capital here is just moving. It's just moving. Again, the people at the lower rung, they got nothing. They're all dependent on the system. The middle class here had a lot of that wealth tied up in all kinds of things, but it's just being sucked out. It's being sucked out, but the grand finale is when they really lose it all, is when we do get the debt market implosion, stock market sells off, and all of these people with their big smiling faces looking at their 401k plans, they're going to be crying in the streets, weeping in the streets, wondering what happened, because it's always the same story. Okay, everyone's going to try to get out the door at the same time. Not everyone's going to get there. Okay, and a lot of these people are only invested on the long side of the market, meaning they only make money if the stock market goes up, but not you and me. You and me are spread out. Okay, we're long the market, dividend paying stocks, large caps. You know that. If you're one of my lions, you're trading around your positions. It's a beautiful setup. But at the same time, we are in risk-off assets, physical gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and in my view, cryptocurrencies as well. Okay, a lot of you don't understand the concept there, and I get it. When I say that cryptocurrencies are risk-off, what I mean is I believe this in my heart. When we get the implosion in the debt market and cash just moves, okay, it's going to bleed out of the debt market, bleed out of the stock market as it falls, and this cash is just going to move into other assets. And I believe sincerely, we're going to see the market capitalization of cryptos skyrocket. It may go up 3, 4, 5-fold. It's going to be big in my view. So that's why I say that. They're not, when you own a cryptocurrency, It's not issued by a central bank. You actually physically own the thing. You understand? That's the difference between, let's say, a dollar or a euro or something. They're there, you don't own them. Every single dollar in your bank account or euro or whatever it might be, fiat currency issued by a central bank, is number one, is a unit of debt. You owe that back to the issuing central bank, plus interest that they create magically out of thin air. Eventually, again, like I alluded to, we're going to have a massive liquidity crisis, but it's going to be by design, meaning the entire system is just going to lock up. And no matter how much debt they borrow, it's not enough. You have to understand that that's why you're going to see things that you can't even believe. I've told you this forever. Be ready for anything. Events like, the Russia-Ukraine issue. These are just conjured up to allow people to be strung along because they make them afraid, to create another effect. It's a cause and effect. It's very simple. So you can expect, again, I really believe we're in the early phases of a new arms race. And that's really what this is all about. It's going to allow governments, again, here in the United States, Bidenstein, our retard president, has sent tens of millions of dollars that we know of over to Ukraine. It's way more than that, of course. Then, of course, we need to replenish our stockpiles. Vladimir Putin over there, too. He's in the same boat. They got a lot of old weaponry. They need a reason to arm themselves. Europe. It's all about, again, no other endeavor on earth generates more cash or cash flow than the war machine, than fueling it. And that's really where I think we're going. And again, they're going to point that war machine here in the United States. They're going to point it right in your face. Okay, if you think the military has your back, you have no idea what you're talking about here. If it ever came down to the wire, meaning, let's say a soldier here, his livelihood, his family, his children versus you, and he's holding an automatic weapon or God knows what, guess who loses? You do. You understand? Okay. I think you do. Tomorrow, people, we're going to hear from the Fed. We got the Fed minutes coming out from their last FOMC meeting. It's going to be interesting to see. Let's see how it plays out. Is there going to be a fear trade tomorrow? What's the fear trade? A dropping of the 10-year yield, a spike in the dollar, and a sell-off in the market. If you see that, what are you going to do? Well, if you're one of my lions, you're going to pounce all over it. You're going to strike. When there's fear in the market, you strike. You understand? And don't listen to Greg Mannarino. Listen to Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley came out telling people to get long Russia-Ukraine or buy the market. You see, I said that first weeks ago. Just like I said, get long COVID. Turned out to be 100% right, that call. I'm telling you right here, get long. And they're late. They're way late. This market is so far off the recent low, it's just unbelievable. You think it's going to stop? I don't think so. I think once this whole thing balances out, once the truth about, oh, guess what, this is really just an arms deal in disguise, comes out, this market's going much, much higher, people. I hope you're not being duped, and I know a lot of you are, into believing what you're seeing is actually what's going on. It's not. Nothing ever is. The lies, the propaganda, the distortions of the truth, it's just out of control. But it's all, it all is controlled. It's a dispersing of information in such a way that it creates a specific effect. I think you all know that. At least you should. All right, what else do I want to cover with you? I covered a lot today. I'm really looking forward to the Fed meeting tomorrow. I want to see how the market reacts to that. If there is that fear trade, I bought banks today. Again, if you are not a subscriber to my free newsletter, link in the description of this video, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. I try my hardest, I really do, to keep all of you way ahead of the curve. If you allow me to help you, I will. If you don't want to be helped, there's nothing I can do for you. Okay, this blog is great. It's fun. We'll have a good time here. But you want to really fill in the missing pieces, you need to sub to my free newsletter. Okay. Anyway, we'll see how this whole thing plays out. I'm excited to be here with all of you. I really am. I love all of you from the heart. I mean that. We're working together, you and me. This isn't just my thing. To try to create awareness, raise awareness. It's just the freak show is so twisted. But you and I think we have a handle on it. A really, really, really freaking good handle on it. All right, look, I'm really going to get going. I will see all of you in the morning. Please share the video. I'm out of here.